Don't mind me decapitatedly showing off my new dress. Killstar. Ting! Hello everyone. If I look down awkwardly, I don't get glasses glare. Yeah, no. How do normal people do this? So I've had this thought in my head for like a month now that I've been struggling to find a way to articulate into a vlog. And this morning there was another new comic by Sam Orchard in the Rooster Tails series, which is a really great webcomic I totally recommend, links below. And I wanted to make a comment, because it's about trans visibility and the difficulties and us moving forward but not being as forward as we could be at present. And when the comment I was trying to leave became 3 paragraphs long, I realized it deserved a video instead. So Sam, this is for you. Thank you for motivating me to do this damn video at last. Every day we are at the best time ever for trans representation. We have actual trans women in the media, both acting and making things. The Wichowski sisters and Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox is amazing. Because for years and years and years, basically it was Chaz Bono and that was it. And Chaz Bono is Cher's son, so there was already a level of notoriety involved. Similarly with Caitlyn Jenner, part of the whole thing is that the Kardashian family and an Olympic medalist, it's like there's a lot of fame already there, and so it was kind of celebrity news as well as being, here's a possibility role model. Though I do have my issues with Caitlyn Jenner. For starters, she is obviously a Republican, and second, she didn't really help the myth that magical sex change, as a comic friend of mine calls it, where, you know, you have one magical surgery and boom, you're far more feminine looking, you go from tragic to brave to sexy. And I think that's the crux of my issue with the representation of trans women in a lot of older media, and still in some current media, is that they go from tragic, it's a story of struggle, to brave, to a story of overcoming, to sexy. And that's like the rewardy bit. I have 2 issues with this. Number 1, that is massively two-dimensionalizing writing. You can do a whole lot more with a character than have them be defined by their transition, and by that transition be that obvious, that done. Are we at a point where we have a done story for trans women already? I mean, there's not been that many. There's been an amount, maybe a dozen at a push, but not that many. And we are still getting cis men cast in trans women roles, for certain. Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl, and I forget his name in Transparent. These are things that are still happening. However, we're not getting many stories that actually reflect real stories of what's happening in the world. I said the Wichowski sisters earlier. After, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, Lilly Wichowski had to come out as trans after a Daily Mail journalist, gotta love the fucking tabloids, came to her door and said that people deserve to know the story of your bravery. Tragic, bravery, sexy. Again. And so she had to come out. She wrote a coming out article and said, I was wanting to do this on my own terms, in my own time, and apparently I don't get that. Great. But all this stuff has me thinking. This, Laverne Cox, Caitlyn Jenner, trans women characters appearing in things, Generation Z, Orange is the New Black, Transparent, Danish Girl, there's increasing amounts of trans women in fiction. However, not really trans men. Chaz Bono is just about the only one who's like in the mainstream, and again, he already had a reason to be known to a degree. Celebrity news. And so I've been trying to think, is there a reason why trans women over trans men and non-binary individuals are so much more at the forefront, both of real journalism, well, celebrity journalism, both of representation from real people and from representation in fiction? Because the only example in fiction of a trans man I can think of is from Orphan Black, but that's part of the point, because it's, you know, Orphan Black is amazing for starters, and because it has this cast of tons of women who are played by this one person because of clones, and one of them transitioned, which is interesting, and oh my god, I love Orphan Black so much, and I want to talk more, but spoilers, I was thinking about it, and I think it comes back to that thing. Tragic, brave, sexy. Media likes a story that has a beginning and a middle and an end. And so you have a person, well, current media likes a story that can have a beginning and a middle and end. If it was about 10 years ago, you would have the beginning and the middle that goes on and on and on and on, and life lessons are learned and then forgotten the next week, and on, and weird pairing doesn't work out. Let's try it again in a couple seasons, and on and on and on. No. A lot of the focus now is on things that can get on Netflix and be binged, that have a beginning and a middle and an end. And the false media representation of trans women has that. The beginning is tragic. It's the dysphoria, it's the self-hatred, it's probably the bullying. It's mostly external sources, even though a lot of it comes internally, and that would be really interesting to see explored. The middle, which is bravery, which is going for surgery. And then the end, which is sexy. And that could be cool, I guess, if it wasn't sexy and it was self-acceptance, and if the middle bravery was more about commitment and, you know, how long it bloody takes to transition. That's the reason I was saying that Caitlyn Jenner I'm a bit peeved with, because had that interview, still presenting as Bruce at the time, saying that she identifies as a woman, and then what felt like a couple weeks afterwards, boom, Vanity Fair cover. Totally different presentation, different persona, everything. This is Caitlyn now. And it just put forward the idea that it's one magical surgery, the magical sex change, rather than hormonal replacement therapy and multiple surgeries in multiple parts of your body. Hell, did you know that one of the surgeries you can have to look more feminine is removing this piece of bone, sanding it down so it's smooth, and putting it back? That's a thing! It's cool if you want to, but freaks me out. But people don't know it's a thing! Surprise! Everyone's too focused on this area, which ain't the point, especially when it comes to passing. So we have this false idea of beginning, middle, end for trans women, and that's where you can have a character arc. You can have something that is understandable, pseudo-relatable, and finishable. Do we have less trans men in media because of this? Because there isn't the beginning, middle, end. There's discovery, there's trying to do something about it, and there's years, decades, probably the rest of someone's life, learning what parts of themselves they will accept, learning what parts they want to change, and having to acknowledge that they will not magically be able to change everything. Trying to word this right. Because media is so focused on the genital area, MTF surgery would involve making genitals, which is doable and has an end. Whereas trans male surgery involves getting HRT and then slowly growing your own small penis, and some people use strap-ons, some people have there's many different routes that people can take surgically if they want to go surgically. There's metoidoplasty, where basically you make the clitoris into an outie after it's been enlarged through HRT. You've got phalloplasty, where you make a new penis out of skin that's excess in different areas, take it from different parts of your body, make it into a new piece. Urethroplasty, where you lengthen the urethra. Scrotoplasty, where you construct a faux scrotum. And glanzoplasty, if I'm saying that correctly even, constructing the head of the penis. Not even including the removal of internal sex organs such as hysterectomy, oophorectomy, vaginectomy, colostomy, and Mons resection. There's a lot of options with various different reasons, benefits, pros, cons, and various different things for different people. Many people choose just to have tubes tied, go basically not to be able to get pregnant, and be like, this is my vagina, I'm a man, deal with it. And none of them are perfect. It's all personal, and your own choices and what you want. There's top surgery. A lot of people go for top surgery. That's a pretty straightforward choice, but downstairs there's a lot of stuff going on. And I wonder, is this why we don't have that much trans male representation? Because the media couldn't handle, I need to learn which parts of myself I can accept and which ones I want to change as the thing, as, you know what, I'm happy like this, as the thing. Is that something they can't accept because it doesn't have an ending? The other thing is it would involve having sexualized men from an other person's gaze perspective rather than a confidence perspective, if you want to do it the same way, because a lot of like women transitioning sexy is sexy from another person's perspective, not from their perspective, which is an issue. And media is reluctant to do that the same way. They're not into the gaze on men. It's all about the gaze on women, the male gaze, even if there are male gays who want to gaze. Haha, puns. I'm far too tired to do this justice, but God, I've been trying to think of the words to describe this for like a month now, like I say, and I'm wanting to put something out. Why do you think there's a lack of non-binary and trans male representation in media, but an increasing amount of trans female? Is it because of the writing ability, like I say, or because of us wanting to present women as tragic and sexy far more than presenting men as tragic and sexy? Because we're more interested in discussing and putting a fucking magnifying glass on female genitalia and not male genitalia. Like, if a trans man was being interviewed on one of these terrible shows with like Piers Morgan or the like, would he be asked about his genitals? Oh, and just to by the by while we're here, can we stop using bandages as saying that this person is binding and now? Okay, people think that's the thing you should be doing when you should be buying a proper binder and not horribly damaging your chest area. Just a thing to throw out there while people are looking at this. This is an easily researched thing. It's quite harmful. Don't do that. What do you think? Especially if there are any trans men watching this, because I was assigned male, so I don't know this as well as some other people might know this. Please give me more perspectives. And thank you. Talk to you soon. Oh, and speaking of sexualization, I did a podcast with Let Zoe Spoil You, and it's about yaoi and queer cinema and queer manga and comics, and it's super interesting because we both grew up with it in different areas, and she is very knowledgeable of a lot of the historical contexts, and so it's like if we're doing like a book club, we're going to read a thing and then we're going to discuss it at length. First one was MW by Osamu Tezuka, which is not like Astro Boy. It is dark and weird and brilliant and political. Link to that below, and maybe here if I'm doing it right. It's a really fun podcast. It's about an hour and a half though. Should be a download available soon. Check that out too if you'd like. Thanks.